You know, realistically, Overhaul should be like, "Oh, my skull!" It's an all-out battle between Overhaul and Deku at their final form, permanent or not. In this regard, it certainly has entered the climax of the battle. It only makes sense for Overhaul to have a flashback before his defeat. Deku going all Super Saiyan would prove that it's the only chance they have left to win. This chapter certainly got my interest in something minor and then inner depth of a character, but left me out from the other aspect that Battle Shonen strive to please. Arguably, the most interesting piece is the very beginning with the theory of paranormality. It's a thesis that could explain the expansion of quirks spreading out by a mice. It's treated like a virus. It's an interesting piece of lore that isn't established as fact, but one would believe it is a possible fact, and it so happened to be Overhaul. How fitting, because he is a guy that isn't found of disease or anything that isn't cleansed. Overhaul basically confirmed the work of Aries' quirk in simpler words in case the audience didn't figure it out. While I did already, it does help to make it clearer and understandable as much as it can get. Does it have repercussion? Outside of unable to control it well, no. It's as you imagine. Broken as hell. It's only forgiving that she doesn't have the ability to function it well to her use. The spotlight leans toward more on Overhaul as a character because his defeat was coming. It's a good backstory about his motivation, though a bit odd on how he certainly has a similar approach as Stain in the justice system and heroism. I know I bragged about it in my last chapter review. I didn't mean it like that. Joking aside, it does shed light on how Yakuza was more or less relevant to his supremacy. It is villainy enough for him to be motivated based on make Yakuza great again. He wanted the Yakuza to restore the underworld once more, so his method has this balanced way to black market the people with aggressive force. For example, his idea on Hero is to take their quirk away with those shots from Aries' blood. However, they will create a serum in order for them to beg for a cure and pay them at a high price. I know the thought of serum to restore a quirk doesn't please the fan, but hold that judgment for another time. Maybe there's a twist to it. In short, they will sell serums from heroes and guns and ammunition for villains. This is where the split faction comes in because the father doesn't approve his method. It pretty much established that the Yakuza isn't that cruel to use human like a tool, which made Overhaul frustrated. It didn't help that he was told to leave if he can't get his mind straight. Instead, Overhaul took matter to his own hands, and the rest is history. Despite my mixed thoughts on Overhaul as a whole, this is a nice addition to his character. It sheds the light on his motivation, whether you find it cheap or not. It does make sense on how the previous Yakuza wasn't fond of him because the boss is the same as everyone. They have dignity, and Overhaul was willing to make one into a tool for his own personal gain. Even if he felt that he owed it to his father, his method doesn't excuse his behavior. Outside of that, the action is somewhat underwhelming. I don't expect it to be too over the top, which is ironic since bigger means better clearly applies here. But I thought it would be much explosive in terms of maneuver. Granted, it's practically Godzilla versus Superman, but it feels like there was room for more intensity. It's practically one-sided moment that was overshadowed by a flashback. While I enjoyed it, it either went on too long or it was wrongfully placed. You decide. Overhaul doesn't land a real hit on Deku, rather cause destruction on the environment as Deku does a kick to lift him up in the air. I feel that this type of battle should have happened in the last chapter and let Overhaul to be a fearsome monster before Infinite 100% ensues. That way, this sense of danger will be fully realized. It's only done to make the surroundings spectacular, such as the thought of bigger is better. Well, at least Toga digs more of him. Deku dodges that one punch and comes behind him with his own punches. The line is cliche enough for people to think Naruto about saving everyone and he can't be called this or that. I didn't mind, rather find it funny. I guess my thought was really fixated on the formula than anything else. Night Eye was so stunned that he forgot to die. The man can really last long after impalement. At least this I recall from that one panel. Because of the sight of Deku punches overhaul, the future can be changed. Is the battle over? It looks that way. And if it is, well, there you have it. The redeeming quality is the artwork, because it is great. It may be flashier, but if you can pull it off in the visual department, it looks pretty damn cool. It is clear to see how it processed, so no complaint here. It's a shame that sequence could have been diverse, like interesting maneuvers outside of punch and kick in a basic form, now with deep impact perk. Other than that, it is riveting. Overhaul losing his mask does indicate the end, so whether it is or not, his face reveal should be worth noting. The arc seems close to the end, and the chapter sheds some light on Overhaul as a character. The action is up for the debate, as I see it to be underwhelming with its lack of meaningful impact using 100%, not even use of those name attacks. I guess punch is the end all be all for shonen. That is if the battle does end here. Still, the art does help out, so it's fine. It is a decent chapter before the arc ends, and hopefully the end result will brighten up. It's probably the last time I used a rating score in my review, so I'm just gonna go out on a whim and say I'm giving this chapter an 8. What are your thoughts of this chapter? Do you think the battle is officially over, or are we just getting started? You'd be surprised that these type of thing can't be indication that the battle is over. I mean, you even ended with the future can change. That is the whole point of that last strike. Not only that, but the fact they actually exchange dialogue, which pretty much covers the entire theme about Overhaul idea versus Deku's idea, and they just combine together and it ends right there. I don't know how you could stretch it. You could just go redundancy, but I don't think he would do that. The mangaka is taking a break at this time, which thankfully is not concerning on the health, and I'm happy that he's taking a break. All in all, maybe the timing says, yeah, the battle has ended and I just delivered, so please enjoy that and wait for 2 weeks for the next chapter. And I could see that happening, but you never know. And that will do it for the review. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.